It's a strong culture up here, and I would say probably 3 out of 4 families up here have a gun in their home.
Welcome to Ironwood, Michigan, a small community along the Wisconsin border in the sparsely populated area in the Upper Peninsula. Hunting is woven into the culture. Alcohol is commonplace in many lives. A lack of mental health resources contributes to a growing number of suicide rates. The UP leads in statistics of gun-related suicides as compared to the rest of the state. Josh Suzik is a 19-year-old UP resident who survived his own suicide attempt late last year. After shooting himself in the face with a shotgun, he managed to crawl to his neighbor's house for help.
It was just a typical Sunday, I went out and did some work out of my camp and watched a football game, and I just had some beers, and I decided to go hunting again after I had been drinking. So I had ended up rolling my ATV. And then my truck that I just bought ended up breaking down when I went to get the four-wheeler, and that was pretty much when I decided it was my only option. After I had shot myself, I had got up and I walked down to the neighbor's house that lived about probably 400 yards down the street, and that's when I went and got help.
Jerry Tiziani is an Ironwood resident and the mother of 2 sons, Brian and Barry, who ended their lives by a gun, just 5 years apart from one another.
I had 2 of my sons, my oldest and my youngest son, took their lives with a gun. It was my youngest son, Brian, that took his life first.
Brian had a tumultuous relationship with a woman. One night, he found her at the home of one of his friends.
And that's why he went home and got the gun, and he shot himself right in front of them at his best friend's house. When they commit suicide, you can't say goodbye to them. That's the hardest thing that. And after that, I didn't want to face anybody, because right then, we never thought nothing about suicide. I mean, you heard it once in a while, but it wasn't. Now, like you hear every day, there's almost some more common.
Pat Gallina is a retired teacher and the head of a suicide survivor support group in Ironwood. He helps individuals who have lost someone to suicide.
We're more than twice the national average, and you can basically call on 3 factors that are involved in that. 1, we love our guns in this part of the country, and that's the primary method used in the Upper Peninsula. 2, we love our alcohol in this part of the country. You go through any small town, you probably count the number of bars, outnumber the number of churches in there, and you got a lot of both. So we love our alcohol. And 3, we have a scarcity of mental health services. We have, as I said, no practicing psychiatrists in Gogebic County, Ontonagon County, Iron County, Wisconsin. None. We got to go a long way, and usually you have months to wait before you can get an appointment.
Up until that weekend, I had been working 2 jobs for about 2.5 months. I didn't have a day off. That was whole 2.5 months I worked straight, and then I was working an average of probably 12 to 15 hours a day, because I go from one job to the next. If I had left any time for a second thought, it probably would have turned out differently. I don't blame the gun. I don't blame the alcohol. I don't blame it. I'm ultimately the one that did it. You gotta stop and think about what you're doing before you do it.
He was supposed to go and build a maple syrup shack. He was watching TV, and I said, Barry, aren't you going to go out and work on that sugar shack, And he said, yeah, I'm going. And it wasn't a couple hours later, the sheriff's department came and told me that he had taken his life at the cemetery by by his dad and his father's grave. I could tell when he was drinking. I could tell by their eyes, you know. And then he went into these rehab places, you know. And he said, well, when he come home, he said, I got everything all planned out. I know now what I'm gonna do. Whether he was thinking about taking his life, I don't know. I didn't think he would put that on me, you know, that I would have to go through that with him.
Kids right now start their drinking usually at hunting camp. And if they haven't drunk by then, that's when they're almost force-fed to drink out there. It's almost a rite of passage. So the drinking is very definitely part of the culture. And they don't consider it a drug. Many people do not consider alcohol a drug.
You know, looking back at it, I can, now that I can think straight, it's, you know, looking back at my old self, if I hadn't been drinking or anything, you know, I know I wouldn't have done it. I think the filter on between reality and you know, what happened was gone. So
To me, the guns isn't so much the concern. It's everything else, you know, the alcohol and, I mean, that's the biggest thing, and financial problems. But I would never use a gun, even if someone broke into my house. I would never think of shooting anybody, because I wouldn't want to kill anybody.